Welcome, everyone, to Flipped Learning 3.0, an ongoing series about the new era of flipped learning. We thank you all for being with us today, and we want to remind you that this is a 30-minute session. Today's topic, what if they don't watch the videos? We've invited 4 experienced flipped learning practitioners from around the world to tell us what they do when students don't watch the videos. With us today is Susan White, a middle school math teacher, Kathy Swanger, who has been teaching in public schools for over 3 decades, Barry Sponder, who's been teaching education technology in higher ed since 1997, and Hector Pino Concepcion, who teaches the primary grades in Spain. Your masterful moderator today will be, as usual, John Bergmann, and this presentation, again, will take about 20 minutes, after which we'll take your questions. To ask a question, you'll need to go to the Q&A button at the upper right-hand corner of your screen, then type in your questions into the text box. I will read your questions out loud and direct them to one of the panelists for a reply. That covers our housekeeping for this moment, so let's get started. John, over to you.
Hey, great to be with you all. Flipped Learning 3.0. I want to give big shout out to our sponsors and the Cisco WebEx who's run the software we use. These guys are amazing, and all the other sponsors of the Flipped Learning Global Initiative. You can see them here: Tess, Udemy, SingSong Media, K-Lounge, etc. Many great companies here. We encourage you to proctor and talk about. When we talk about flipped learning, we say there are really 3 or 5 key things about the Flipped Learning 3.0 framework, and that flipped learning is evolving. This is what I'm going to focus on. It's evolving because of 3 key factors: research, classroom innovation, and technology. And today we want to focus on the classroom innovation and really deal with the question that everybody asks all the time: what if they don't watch? And so to do this, we brought in experts, one from each level: elementary, middle, high school, and higher ed. And we're going to start off with higher education, the amazing, awesome Barry Sponder. So Barry, tell us how you get them to watch at the higher ed.
Well, they have no choice. I have them use technology right from the start. They all make videos. Everybody does it. Everything they do basically is involved with some kind of video, some kind of doing something for other classes, putting stuff online. So they're doing it all the time.
Your kids are making videos all the time. That's awesome. So, like, examples.
Well, here's examples of some feedback that I send to them. Whenever they do work, I'll send them video feedback so they can actually rewind it and listen to my accent and maybe make sense of what they're hearing.
So you're like grading papers and via video, right?
Everything's on video.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What else?
Well, everyone has their own website, so everybody has all sorts of stuff that they put online, and whenever I send any assignments home, they're all on video. Here's one where they have to make a wiki, so they learn to actually get online, register, make a wiki, and then when we come to class, they're able to work in teams. Here's some
Oops, I went up an extra slide there, but dude, there we go.
Yeah, so students actually practice at home. They make videos. A lot of them are teachers. Some of them are just pre-teachers, preschool teachers. And what they're doing is they make videos of things that they're teaching, but every single video is something that they don't like. So all the assignments are directed toward things that they're not good at, because when they start teaching, they're not going to be paid for all the stuff that they're good at.
That's a good point. That's really awesome. Yeah, I know there were some things that I didn't teach well when I first started teaching. This is awesome. I could have used this. What about this? The other assignments from other college courses? You're like double dip?
Everything. So whatever they're taking, in some classes, they just have to find additional information. In other classes, they actually have to find different points of view from whatever's being taught and actually have a pro and a con and then decide. So it's really directed toward helping them do better in their own classes. I feel if they learn to use technology well, they'll use it well in the classroom.
Yeah. Okay. And they all have their own personal websites, right? So tell me about this student right here.
She's an undergrad, and she's doing student teaching. Actually, she's just volunteering now, and she uses all sorts of different technologies such as Voki and ThingLink, Screencast-O-Matic, and Wix for making the website.
All right. And what's a hook? You use a hook to get them to watch? What's that?
Always. You always want to keep people guessing as to what they're doing. So sometimes I'll ask students to look for 2 things they don't like or they don't agree with, and they come back and tell me why and defend it. I have them watch videos and blogs, respond to blogs.
Yeah.
And they also look at videos made by other students.
That's really cool. I mean, if I were to summarize what I'm hearing from you, Barry, is you make it embedded in the culture. So to answer the question, what if they don't watch? You just make it so it's just they have to because it's just part of the culture. Fair statement?
My question is, what if they don't have a phone? As long as they have a phone, they have video, and they're expected to use it.
Awesome, awesome. And you also, I know, teach online courses as well. So how does this work in an online course?
Well, it works perfectly. Last night, I had everybody take out their phone, make videos, upload them to YouTube. And for some students, it was the first time they've ever done it. And so it was really nice. And then they have an assignment this week to actually go and make more videos at home.
Yeah, because a class doesn't have to happen face-to-face. You can have a virtual class. It's the same thing, right? Still group space. Well,
I like to be actually online in real time with them so that I can answer questions and they feel more comfortable that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. Hey, folks, last thing, you've got the stress reducer. What's up with that?
Instead of Tylenol, I have them use the late pass. So if there's any trouble, just send it in and do other work.
Yeah, life happens, and you're just acknowledging that life happens sometimes. Yeah. Hey, folks, what we want to do is we want you to get out your device. Or just open up another tab. And we've got this tool called Mentimeter, which is loading right now. And we want you to answer this quick question. What hooks might you use in your class to get students to interact with your flip videos? You simply go to menti.com on your phone, a browser, anything, and type in that code 477620. We're going to have 4 questions, by the way, one from each presenter. And type in your responses. We'd love to hear what hook might you use in your context. So we'll pay attention to this. And so while it's happening, Barry, just while they're typing in their responses, so tell us more. So tell us more about this whole creating that video culture. To me, that's intriguing. Just that it's this embedding this into the culture.
Well, see, the thing is that everybody has all this technology, but they have this attitude that, well, I can't do it. And the idea is that I teach them never to get stuck. Whatever it takes, that they should. There's always 3 different ways that they can do anything. And so I make them use whatever they have that's handy, what they have that they may not use well, like the phones. Everybody's got a phone. But they're used to talking on the phone, but as far as using it for instruction or actually anything in a classroom, they don't do that. And so I challenge them to do that, and it works really well.
All right, we're starting to see some responses here. A quiz at the start of the next class, that's a hook. Pre-class quizzes, okay, we're hearing that, using a Canvas and higher ed teacher. Take notes on the video, connection of class content, commercial videos from popular movies, so that's an intriguing thought. My students respond to points. They sell their parents for points. Oh, that's hilarious. That's really good. Oh, my gosh. Easter eggs could gamify having secret code words within the videos. Yeah, I've seen that. That's a great technique. Have them include their family community while making videos to increase relevancy. Excellent. Explain everything. Has the video included in the video. I can see how many times they actually watched. Oh, yeah. All these tools, they're awesome. I use Edpuzzle. Sometimes I say hello to some of my students. Yeah, someone's going to talk about Edpuzzle a little later. These are some great responses, folks. So we got 17. I know there's like 50 or 60 people in the room when I last checked. We'll leave this on and look at it some more. But any thoughts, Barry, from their responses?
Oh, they're all great. I'm going to write them all down.
That's awesome. Okay, well, keep sharing. We could come back to these. We may, in fact, just do that as well. So next up, we've got Susan White. Susan, you is our middle school teacher, teaches middle school math in Illinois. That's where I live. And Susan, we want to hear your awesomeness.
Hi, everyone. My name is Susan White, and I work at Creekside Middle School in Woodstock, Illinois. And I teach 6th grade math. To answer that question, what if they don't watch? Well, who are they? And what I see two most difficult things that I encounter are students without Wi-Fi at home and students who just don't do it. So I'm going to address those on 2 different slides. Now, for our students who don't have Wi-Fi at home, we are one-to-one, so the device is not the issue, but some of them just don't have the internet at home available to them. So what I try to do is I try to be proactive. I have them get their videos done in advance of class time. So whether I assign it that day and they have them come in that day, or by the next day before class is when I'll have them do it. So I will invite them in for study hall, my lunchtime, before or after school. They also have a 15-minute block of time from homeroom before period 1 starts that they can get it done. And most of these students will do it. They'll take advantage of that. It's very important that we do not penalize these students for something that's beyond their control. They can't help it if their parents do not have the internet. Now, my next issue or obstacle are the kids who just don't do it. And I find that these are the kids who probably wouldn't do your regular homework if you weren't flipping your classroom. So, of course, I revisit and explain that when you're skipping your lesson, you're skipping my class. I contact parents to make sure that they're on board and understand just how the flipped learning works. And then the most important thing is that I hold them accountable, and I find this is the key to everything. So how do I hold them accountable? Well, in my class, because it's math, they must watch that video. They can't go on to our activity if they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. So I have them watch the video at the beginning of class. And middle school students are very socially motivated. So what I do is I have 3 things that I think really motivates them to get stuff done. So 1, I plan very engaging activities that they don't want to miss. 2, when they come back into the group space, they have to check in with me so I can make sure they understand what they were doing. By that point, they will have missed a lot of group space time, and many of their friends and group peers that they would have collaborated with have already gotten quite far into what they're doing, and I don't just allow them to jump in and copy down what they have. So they're usually working with other kids who didn't watch it, or they might be by themselves and working along with me, or maybe just by themselves. So that is a huge motivator for them. And 3, I hold them accountable. Just because they started the in-class work late doesn't mean they get to miss it. So they have to make it up. And so what I find is that with these, my classroom environment is very respectful, very relaxed, but it's non-punitive. And I have a get-her-done and join-us attitude. I treat my kids how I would want to be treated. So if I forgot to read an article for a staff meeting, I would hope my principal wouldn't call me out and embarrass me in front of everyone. And what happens is I've found that a lot of my students, most of them, they start to see that, oh, that 7 or 8 minute video was much better than missing out on the fun activities, collaborating with their peers, and this more work that she's holding me accountable to.
Next up is Kathy Swanger. Kathy Swanger has taught, she's a high school teacher and has taught high school social studies for a long time. So Kathy, take it away.
Thank you, John. Actually, yes, I have taught high school social studies for over 33 years, and I know I still love my job. A lot of people don't understand that, but I still love every day that I teach. And when we're talking about flipping, I think the first question we have to ask, if we're talking about why they don't watch the video, is why are they not watching the video? And I know it's bad to answer a question with a question, but that's how I feel compelled to do it. So I think there are basically 4 things. There's lack of opportunity, there's lack of technology, there are memory issues, and then there are some students who just choose, for some reason or another, not to watch a video.
You mean you have kids who don't do homework?
It's amazing. Yeah, it is amazing.
My kids always did all their homework all the time.
Right,
no.
And for 24 years of my 30 years of teaching high school social studies, I was actually at Marion City Schools at Harding High School, and in Marion City, 100% of our students are on free lunch, not just free, everybody gets a free lunch, everybody gets a free breakfast.
Wait a second. All your kids are on free lunch, and you flipped your class. People say that's not possible, and you did.
It is possible. It is possible, and that's actually where I started flipping. And so that's part of what I want. So when we talk about lack of opportunity, kids say, well, I can't watch video because I don't have internet access at home. And so sometimes if you go straight out and ask high school kids, they won't be the most forthcoming with you. So you try to trick them, and I put a survey out. And so lots of questions in the survey, but I always throw a couple in with social media. What's your favorite social media? Because now they get excited. They all answer that question. And then, how often do you check your social media? So if they say, well, I check it hourly or daily, which is what most of our kids do, then they have access to watch a video. And
so what percentage of your kids in your inner city school, economically disadvantaged, had legitimate internet issues from your perspective?
legitimate internet issues, probably 20%.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, and most of them did. So that's where building relationship with kids is one of the most important things, because once we build that relationship, then we can go to answering those questions, like that lack of opportunity. They're overscheduled. I mean, our kids in high school, they're in sports, they're in music, they have jobs, they have all kinds of other things. And so I know kids who go to school and then they literally work 8 hours a day. And so to watch a video, they don't have time.
Fair enough.
So we need to work around those issues. But we also have lack of technology issues where the kids will say, I don't have the internet, I can't watch, I don't have a cell phone, or I don't have any minutes left on my cell phone. That's usually, I don't have any data points left. And so we have to work with those kids, and we have to come up with, different creative ways of, bring them in before school, after school, during study halls, during lunch. We may have to find a computer for them. And we can do that. We may have to find a place closest to them that has free internet access. If they go to the local McDonald's, or if they go to Panera, or someplace where they can actually sit and watch, or they go to a friend's house. They can go to a friend's house and watch. So we just have to know those issues so that we can work with those. And the better you build a relationship, then the easier it is to take care of those things.
Awesome, awesome. So, so you like to say what?
Well, yet. Most of my thing is I haven't watched the video yet. And so, again, it all goes back to they haven't done it yet. They're going to, because that content is important. We wouldn't make the video if it wasn't important. And so we have group space, the classroom time. And so if that is intriguing enough, and if those activities are engaging enough, students don't want to miss those. So my rule is you cannot engage in the activity until you've watched the video. So I would have computers in the back of my room with nice ugly headsets that they could, headphones to put on. Most of them were bright pink and green, and so they would go back, they would watch the video, and after they engaged with the video, then they were allowed to come and get into the group space. And eventually they realized, hey, I don't want to be missing that, so I better get this other work done first, and then it kind of takes care of itself. And so the group space, that's where the real meat and potatoes are. That's where all the activities that are engaging, that's where we drive home, all the things where the kids actually get to give their side of the story, or they actually get to engage in the history or be a part of what's going on. And once they do that, that's what's important to them, so they'll learn to watch the video.
Awesome. John's having difficulties. Okay. What else about this in-class flip?
So that's another option, and the school I'm in right now, I am currently at a small rural school. It's actually a K-12, so I actually am dealing with kindergartners through seniors now, which is a new experience for me. But a lot of our elementary, we are a one-to-one school right now, but a lot of our younger kids don't take their Chromebooks home. So an in-class flip works really well, which basically means kids actually watch the video in class.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to worry about taking it home. They can watch it at home, and now we as teachers can watch them, especially if you have really difficult content. We can see how the students are interacting with that content. We can also monitor behavior a little bit better. Something about putting headphones on actually focuses children more so they don't get distracted, so that they can actually get that content. And we can differentiate instruction. We can give different videos to different students, and then we can just kind of guide them and control them. But it's about watching the videos in class rather than watching it as homework.
So that's great. So what we wanted to ask you guys, follow up to what Kathy shared, is this question about access. What strategies do you use to get students to do homework now? So, maybe you've got the access issues that Kathy has, or maybe you don't, but just what other strategies? Just if homework is part of your culture, what do you do now?
Right, and John, one of the other things real quick is sometimes we just need to give our kids a reminder. Sometimes kids just simply forget to do homework because they have other issues going on. And so there are a couple apps that are out there that they can do. There's Remind, there's Selly, and those apps actually protect students and teachers. So nobody gets anybody's phone number. The students don't get the teacher's phone number. The teacher doesn't get the student phone number. And then you can text students, and you can text them to remind them to watch a video.
All right, we're starting to get some good answers. I'm going to add puzzle cards, bonus points. Yeah. Somebody says they send the kids back who are to watch. Yeah. Words, and more words. Nice. I think it's a matter of that relationship thing that you talked about, Kathy. At least that was my strategy, for what it's worth, is to really, do good teacher stuff. If students weren't doing the homework before I flipped my class, after I flipped my class, it's, I called home, talked to parents, I cajoled students, I harassed them, or I came alongside them and, talked about what was going on. I mean, every kid's different. And so if there's a reason they're doing it, and you listed it, maybe it's because they can't, because they got too many responsibilities outside of home. There's a lot of things, and just figure out what it is, build a relationship, and it's amazing what can happen. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody else got thoughts here as we're typing in? I see we got 10 responses. These are kind of long answers, so it takes a while to type them out. I teach in higher ed instead of writing assignments, reports. I have students build websites and write a blog. Nice. It's kind of similar to what Barry's doing, I think. So, yeah. Reminders via Canvas. Yeah, the reminders, you talked about that. She's got a tool, he's got a tool, whatever they're using, similar to like the Remind app that I think you're using. So let's jump back. Have we solved the Susan audio issue, by the way, team? Susan, can you speak? I'll go back to your slides. No? Should we just jump to Hector, and then we'll finish up with Susan? All right, so next up from the elementary level, we got Hector, or primary level, as they call it in Spain. So Hector, we want to hear what you're doing to get your kids to watch the videos in Spain.
Everyone. Hello?
Yes, Hector, you're on.
Okay, hello. I teach primary in Tenerife, and I'm using flipped classroom system. But sometimes there are troubles, like what to do if they don't watch. So, okay, first of all, relax. Maybe your pupils are not trained to watch your videos, so don't desperate. And think that learning can happen at any moment and anywhere. Give them time. Don't get stressed with technology. It's only a tool, and like a drill, it's here to make our lives easier. And be patient. Don't forget, we have superpowers. We are teachers. We have patience.
That's so true. And all teachers have superpowers, don't they, Hector? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what about, not panicking?
Not panic. Okay, so don't press the panic button inside your head. So build a strong structure. For example, I use Google Classroom to post all the works, docs, presentation, links, and also link my videos using Edpuzzle or Flipgrid. I say the Edpuzzle is a fantastic tool which allows me to control who has watched the video, how many times, and also insert questions to make sure of comprehension. And also I'm using now Flipgrid, where pupils give me the answers, recording short videos with selfie cameras, and it's so fun for them. And finally, I connect IDOCO with Google Classroom, so I get all the marks in that app and make relations with curriculum. And finally, I use ClassDojo to communicate with the families and tell them if anybody has not watched the video. So parents are always connected. And I'm going to give 3 ideas because last month I did Flipped Learning Certification Level 2 and get some great ideas. For example, in Flip, I use a station rotation system twice a week where pupils can watch the videos and discuss together. And another idea is to prevent them from not watching the video, in some cases due to economical problems. And the school can lend any device, okay, an iPad or Chromebook, of course, signing a document of responsibility. Or maybe if the problem is the internet connection, pupils can use the library. For example, every afternoon my school library is open and it has some computers and the internet. And the last idea is ask for help, because I think parents should know how is your teaching system. All my parents have in their mobile phones all the apps I use, so they know when there's homework and they watch the videos with the children together. And it's so fun because they are learning again. And the final step for me is assessment. Asking about other college about your videos and about some ideas to improve, or invite them to do some video together. that's 50% of the assessment. And I have a sentence that you never read what you have written. So please watch your own videos. Watch the videos you have recorded. And could you prove them? And the other 50% is students. I use an idea from Juan Francisco Hernandez based on an anonymous Google Forms about how they feel watching the videos and how you can improve about the audio, the content, or the length. So I say, remember, you choose to be a teacher, so you choose that you never stop learning.
That is such a good point. I love that we have the superpowers for that. So what are your takeaways that you from this presentation? What are some strategies that you could use for those students who don't watch? Don't panic when one student cannot immediately access the video. Build relations, have plan A and plan B. Accountability. Points to watch videos in Flip, no stress. Yeah. I'm a fan of Hector's point. Patience is your superpower, right? New tools of engagement, Edpuzzle and Minty, building relationships, points to watch videos, in Flip, remembering not to panic, accountability. Some of these are repeating, I think. Good. I love the students can be able to be accountable even if they're struggling to access the videos. That's so true. De-stress students with clever, witty hooks. I like the hooks too, yeah. Smartphones are where teach students how to use them in a positive way. That's so true, because oftentimes they use them in not such a positive way, right? These are great thoughts. Well, while these are scrolling, let's turn this over. Errol, do we have any questions that our panelists can chat about?
Let's open it up and see if we can get a few in. If you do have a question or two that you'd like to pose to any of the panelists, now is the time to do it. Just go to the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You'll see a little orange box with a question mark and a Q&A underneath it. Go ahead and click on that box and type your question into the text box. We'll then go ahead and route those questions to one of the panelists for an answer. We can start with this. We know that this whole idea of students not watching the video is a problem that we hear all the time. It's pretty pervasive. Let's go around the panel and just ask this question. We'll start with you, Barry. Have you ever had a problem with students watching the video that you were not able to solve with your patented solutions? Barry?
None I know of, to tell you the truth. It's just always part of what I've been doing for actually 30 or 40 years. So I always get people to do it. I also make not only the videos, but I use the videos to make tutorials to go along with it, written tutorials, so that they have two ways of looking at the information.
Got it. Very good. All right. How about you? Kathy, have you ever had a problem with students watching the video that you could not solve?
That I could not solve, no. And again, having extra computers in the back of the classroom helped, because again, the word is yet, so they hadn't watched it yet. One of the other things that I would do occasionally is I would put a guest speaker on my videos, and then they would try to have to figure out who that guest speaker was. And then the kids would try to be the guest speaker, which was kind of neat. So they would all want to have a chance to be on that video. So, you know, it's about giving them the opportunity to do it. They'll all do it eventually. It's just a matter of when they get to it.
Got it. Very good. How about you, Hector Pino? It's Concepcion in España. Have you ever had a problem with, again, students not being able to watch the video or not watching the video that you could not solve?
Okay, actually not. Every problem has been solved, but okay, I am facing the future, and maybe some students cannot see my videos due to technical problems, maybe, or something like that, because we are slow in technology.
That is very good.
Errol, as a note, I have Susan on speakerphone. We're just calling old school, so I don't know if you want to bring Susan in. Susan, do you have some thoughts?
I don't think I've had a problem that I couldn't solve, because I'm kind of on the line of thought process of Kathy, where it's a not yet with my kids. If they didn't watch it, they can watch it the next day. So I pretty much can find a way for them to be able to watch that video.
Awesome. Errol, other questions?
That's very good. And Thank you, Susan. Sorry that we were not able to get to your program on today, but we go to the next, Sean Taylor. Students watch the video, but they are not listening to my lecture. How do we solve that problem? Let's start with you, Barry.
I don't lecture. Basically, I try and demonstrate things, and I break it up, but I don't lecture because they're always required to do something. And so I show something, and then they do it.
Oh, that's amazing. A college professor who does no lecture. That's different. Let's go to you, Kathy.
I would put formative assessments throughout my videos. So I would put questions in every so often, and so they would have to answer those questions. And then I would get the reports daily. And so that's how I also knew who watched the video and who did not.
And Susan, we want to give you some time if we can. Students watch the video, but they are not listening to me lecture. How do we solve that problem? Do you have an answer?
I have my whole video at puzzle, and they actually, Cynthia Kathy said, I can see who is and isn't watching that video, and they're answering questions. I use the formative assessment in that way as well. Mm. And they're taking notes, and I can tell, like, the next day when they come back in, who is and isn't watching it, and I can kind of keep track that way.
That's great.
That's very good. All right, let's go to the next one because we have a few here. We'll give this one to you. Hector. Wait a minute. This is Hector. A question from Hector. We'll go to the next one. Paula. I appreciate your desire for me to relax, but I need some more concrete examples and ramifications for non-performance. Hector, what's the answer?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Sure. I appreciate your desire for me to relax, but I need some more concrete examples of ramifications for non-compliance.
Okay, good. You need to relax and you need to enjoy when you are entering to a class, because I say every day I'm here to have fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm going to stay at my home. So okay, if videos are not working, change your way. You can use some presentation, you can use lectures, you can use reading. Okay, everything it depends on your students and on your group. But patience is a superpower. Okay, give your students time.
And let me point this out because I think the main crux of her question is, are there any punishments? Are there any ramifications for students who are just absolutely resistant and don't perform? Barry?
Oh, no, for me, no.
For you, no. Barry?
No, because, okay, sorry.
No worries, Hector. Barry, performance, any ramifications, any consequences for non-performance?
Yeah, they lose points. They know that.
Got it. Susan? Susan, did she leave? Kathy, how about you? Any consequences for non-performance?
There are consequences if they don't watch at all. And again, that's, for me, that's lack of group space time, which is where the real fun of the class happens and where they get to share opinions. But in terms of it being late, no. As long as they watch it, then they get to participate at some point.
Got it. Very good. We have time for just about one more. This one comes from Kathleen. She asks, how often are we creating new videos? I made videos 2 years ago, and they are way too long. We'll give that one to you, Kathy. How often do you create new videos?
Well, I created new videos when I believed that I needed to have them done. And so I actually had my version, I would say 1.0, and then I would say 2.0, 3.0. And so my students would laugh when they'd go, hey, we watched a 1.0. That was one of your original ones. So I would just keep making new ones, and I would just keep adding a different number onto them.
Got it, got it. Well, all right. We are out of time. Thank you, Susan, Kathy, Barry, and Hector for sharing. It was like drinking from a fire hydrant here. Just so many great ideas on how to solve this problem. To all of you who are attending, remember that you can keep this conversation going by heading over to flglobal.org/community. Kathy, Susan, Barry, they will all certainly be there. They're active on the site almost every day, and that they will be able to answer questions that you did not get answered today. Also, reminder that you can learn more about other flipped learning training by going to flglobal.org. If you're interested in getting certified in flipped learning, you can go to flglobal.org/get certified. Thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for your time. Happy holidays. And most importantly, thank you for all that you're doing to contribute to flipped learning. We look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Bye-bye.